I wanted to create this video to talk about my current Aetherbound playtest, the things I've learned, and my thoughts going forward. Now, I'm using this video of Celesta because it's kind of my end goal. Right now, I'm starting with Aetherbound as the traditional TTRPG, using the rule book, writing the rules down because that's the logical first step. I started with 5th edition and then I found out okay, Pathfinder 2nd edition has the rule set that is closer to what I'm going to use. I'm not using the 3 action system because I feel that it's limited. Plus, I think making an entire action to get up, as in stand up from prone, and then another action to move, and then another action to burrow, another action to fly. Like you can't interchange those movement types. It's kind of like too video gamey for me. And I do like the 5th edition movement. It feels more normal, where you can just interchange the movement types, just subtracted the movement that you made so far to the movement type that you're using. And my goal with Aetherbound is to make the system believable, but have all of the options. 5th edition, as far as what I've played, it's believable, but some things are just it's like crazy. There has to be the enemies, number one, have to be more powerful. So I believe Pathfinder 2E did that correctly. So that's the first thing. The second thing is I'm using Foundry VTT. That is the first purchase that I've made. Well, and I know I can't choose a major purpose, but in terms of tools, I made a post on X, aka Twitter, that the tools I'm going to be using is Solasta, Crown of the Master for creating like a campaign style thing, to just have it in digital format, just because it will give me some practice in terms of level design and game design. Of course, I'm going to be looking into Unity because Unity is what I plan on using, because the third step is creating a 3D VTT type thing. That's why I haven't gotten any of the token assets for the monsters and Foundry, because I know after I'm done with a 3-round system, I'm going to have to create a entirely separate module for Aetherbound, which is going to be a long process. So my thought process is, if I'm going to spend some development time creating a model in Foundry, I might as well use that time and learning Unity, or aka putting together a team in Unity to create Aetherbound. But I believe there's a logical progression. Get the rule books out, gauge interest if people are interested in, then do an app to help people who want to run things in person or run things online, kind of like a compendium thing similar to Fight Club, that was made by Lions Den, one for game masters and one for players, because I would use something like that and I loved it and make things much simpler. And then the 3D VT, because that's going to be the one that takes the most time. And I mentioned Solasta because Solasta is kind of what I'm going towards. You can't use BG3 because BG3 is on an entirely different level in terms of production cost and production quality. I believe Tactical Adventures has like 15 to 20 people now. I don't think they had that many when they first came out with Solasta. I have no idea. But it just goes to show like what you can create. And then you have Dungeon Alchemist, which is the last thing I need to buy as a map making tool. I like that because not only does it have the AI in there for like the rough sketching, the overall design for the maps, you can also be very detailed, number one. You can export the maps into Foundry, and it has the lighting, the walls, all that stuff integrated in there. And even within Dungeon Alchemist, I notice if you place the token, you can actually explore the map as that token. So in my mind, it's like they're so close. They could really either integrate it into virtual tabletop, because they say that they don't have plans to create a virtual tabletop. But if they could integrate it into something like, I know RPG Chronicles, for me, I played the demo, tested it out. It's just not like something I'm interested in, because it has the visual quality, is there, but I need some mechanics wise. Manir is another project that is supposed to be coming out later this year. I have to see what it looks like. But those are just some examples of what I'm looking to create. But it's going to be closer to Celesta or even Sword Coast Legends, because I was so excited for that. Like, you have the DM, but you have the players too. And the DM could take control of a specific monster if they want to get in the thick of the fight. As the players go on, there's like some points and stuff like that the DM could use, like to change the map and stuff like that as it would. I might not implement like a point system like that, but I want to have it where the dungeon master can like change the map depending on the developments and stuff like that. But of course, I want a map making tool and stuff like that. And I'm looking at all these other companies because I'm trying to see what do they use. I know Solasta used Unity. I know Dungeon Alchemist used Unity, or uses Unity. So I'm like, okay, Unity is the way to go. And then I found out Unity versus Unreal Engine, from what I've heard, tell you can let me know in the comments if I'm wrong, is that if you want to export to all of the platforms, use Unity and stuff like that, because I guess it has more integration with that stuff, and I definitely want to export to as many platforms as possible, especially Mac, because that's what I mainly use, my MacBook. I'll get a desktop PC later on. So I learned some things from that. As far as game wise, the stamina rules are still going well. They're not spamming it, because even though they can make the extra attacks with the stamina points up to twice per turn, one stamina point per attack, they still take the multiple attack penalty. So they understand, like, hey, like I'm not gonna hit and stuff like that. I wonder later on if they'll start to use the the regular standard action and quick actions for abilities slash buffs, and then use the stamina points to get their attack. But unlike Pathfinder Second Edition, eventually they'll get to the point where they don't have any stamina points left, so they won't get those extra attacks. But they'll have other abilities that, well, some classes will have other abilities that let them simulate attacks. So it will be good to see what happens. And then Rage for Barbarians. No one in my current playtest has played a Barbarian. I'm working on that class, doing some stuff. I added the Chaos Magic instinct to the barbarian. I think it's pretty cool. It might be overpowered, but I think like the randomness like affects the consideration for the power level. Who knows? But rage costs stamina now anyway, and then the abilities, some abilities within that cost even more stamina to repeat and stuff like that. So that should be interesting as the playtest goes. As far as that, I've been getting more requests on Roll20, having voice calls. So we'll see if the new members are able to mesh well with the group. So far, I have 6 players. My goal is to start another playtest group after we get to a certain point in the initial group. But I'm not rushing anything, taking things as they go. I rushed things in the past. Plus, I need to work on the classes and feats, the races, and the heritages. I'm willing to wait before creating another playtest sessions. So if you're interested in the project, leave a comment down. Let me know what you think. I will give more updates. My goal is to have updates at least once a week after playtest sessions. That way I can give you some information on what I've learned if you're interested in creating your own rule system and stuff like that.